Okay, so this week, I'm just going to mute you all. This week is the last of the three on healing. Next week will be a review um, with added concept or two, but we've done healing spiritually, healing thought and emotion, mind. And today we are going to talk about body healing in the body. Again, to remind us that healing means to recover, to restore, to make healthy, sound, and whole. So, in all aspects. Um, the first two, spiritual and mind, thought and emotion, have a huge effect on the body system. So, when we work on those two, chances are the body system will begin to be restored and to get healthy, sound, and whole. So to open it up, we want to think about like, what is your body concept? And what do you know about your body and its workings? Because I feel that when it comes to healing in in the body system, healing of things affecting the body, we're ignorant about our body and the systems of the body and its built-in process of healing and caring for itself. I feel that we lack education and we lack the concept that we are. It, we always say it, we're mind, body, soul, right? But what do we know about that aspect if we're mind, body, soul, or body, soul? Um, what do we actually know and believe about our body? So, our body is an intricate ecosystem, from the outer skin, which is taking in data all the time. Your skin is the largest organ in your body. To the skin, the muscles, ligaments, tendons, bones, organs, they're all alive, the blood, and they are all intricately uh, in their own ecosystem in there. Um, the the muscles, ligaments, and tendons float the bones when we're in perfect balance. They float the bones in space so the bones don't get worn out, the joints don't get worn out. It's just really a miraculous system. It has a healing or restoration system built in to it. We come with that. It kicks in and destroys invaders. And it has the ability to heal wounds, internal and external. The body system itself really can care for itself. So the body is made to hold perfect balance internally and externally. And it is regenerating and restoring when we're sleeping, right? When we're having fun, things like that. Um, the body is energy, just like everything else. It has energy pathways or meridians. It has energy centers, chakras, and it has an energy field flowing through it. Our life energy, our chi, prana, it flows within the body. And we have an energy field that is reflected outside the body. So the body is our magic carpet. It's our chariot, our vessel. It's the home of our spirit on our human journey. And we express through our body. So our body is not a separate item that the brain and the spirit hang out in. It's one unit. It's one unit. So it's our responsibility to love, care for, nurture, and listen to our body. And when we know what we are and we feel confidence and joy in our body, then we can hear when the body's feeling out of balance. We can listen to that and hear it. When we're not connected, we don't understand the magic of our body and how it works and all of that. We can feel instead, criticism towards it because it doesn't look like we think it should. Disappointment because it's not what we think or want it to be. Sadness that the body is failing us when something goes wrong. So we turn and actually attack the body with our thoughts and our feelings. And many times, I would have clients come and work with me, and you listen to them about their talking about their body and how they're treating their body and what they're saying to their body. And I was like, if your body is your employee, I would hate working for you. You're like an oppressive taskmaster. And the body is not a slave to us. It is a beautiful expression of divinity, and it is we give it, our spirit brings life and energy and flow through this beautiful body that we have to live in. So it is part of the whole unique, wonderful system. And when we turn on it, we're actually rejecting an aspect of ourselves, the vehicle that we're driving on this earth, right? So when we learn the language of our body and our body energy, and we are aware, there's like so much noise, and we're aware and can support the body in restoring the balance. So when we learn how the systems work, we learn how the energy flows, we can work with it to maintain the balance, and it'll tell us what it needs. And pain is generally the last voice, but it is usually the first voice we hear because we're unaware, not paying attention and not involved, or we're disappointed in our body. So we're kind of like, that's over there somewhere. So the body is a living third of us. And it is speaking to us, and it will definitely tell us what we need. If you have something going on and you ask your body, what do you need? What do you need right now? It will tell you. It will tell you. We have to be open to what it's saying. Stop beating me. Back off on the exercise, right? So give me more water. Something like that. So many illness and diseases caused by an imbalance, and that imbalance that has been going on over time. So stress, burning the candle at both ends, pollution of all kinds, excess of any kind, to include, but not limited to, food, exercise, drink, fasting, too little fresh water, food, and quality sleep. Everything in balance, and the body system can stay in balance. Sometimes we have a lot going on, and we push and we extend ourselves for a short period of time, and then we have a time of recovery and rebalancing, right? It's the same in our growth process. We work hard to evolve and grow. Sometimes it feels like this is a lot of work, so we come back and we rebalance, we regenerate, we take care of ourselves. So when in reference, and this is like the best example, I read this, and I think it's like the perfect example. So when you drown a plant with water, it dies. when it's too hot, it wilts and dies. If you overfeed it, it dies. If you don't feed it, it dies. We're no different, except the process takes longer and goes through many different avenues. So if we think of our body as that plant, if we feed it too much, if we don't feed it enough, if we don't hydrate enough, if we hydrate too much, if the body's out of balance and it can't deal with what you think you're doing the right thing and drinking a ton of water, and the body's not able to absorb it, you're actually drowning your plant, right? The body will tell us that if we learn how to read the language of the body. So the self-inflicted imbalance starts with our thoughts and feelings and beliefs. Like we have been looking at that over the last several weeks. Anger, fear, shadow living in fight or flight lifestyle erodes the body and breaks down the immune system over time. And you will see autoimmune conditions and diseases coming to the surface in people's lives. Sleep issues, the lack of REM sleep or theta, getting into theta, the lack of the recharge time with quality sleep. When we get into theta, we get into REM sleep. That's when the pineal gland and the hypothalamus gland release healing chemicals that cascade down through the body. That doesn't happen if we don't get into that place where we are in a state that it can happen, and then the body can receive it, the healing chemicals. We need sleep to turn off and separate from the outside world and focus on the inside. The body really regenerates when we're having really good quality sleep. When we are not getting that, we're sleeping with the TV on, we're sleeping with the lights on, we're sleeping with the radio on, we're sleeping with the music. All of that is keeping us present in the outside world. And the brain, by the way, is recording everything. It records everything. Think of what you are recording inside your brain, especially if you sleep with the TV. So quietness, darkness is necessary for quality sleep, for us to really cycle down and relax. Holding trauma, anger, resentment in our energy, in our body energy field can solidify into tumors, cancer, autoimmune issues. Medical intuitives, energy workers can look at a person and see what the root of that condition was. It's a real thing. And there's a million books on it. So, the energy is stuck and it will turn into something over time. There's this great testimony that I have shared with probably some of you, but it's this gentleman, when he was a young man, just out of college, his father died and he had to take over the business. And it was a successful business. He took over the business, but he kept having these tumors come out on his skin, under his skin, like all over his body. And he'd have them taken out and they would come back, have them taken out and they would come back. And at one point, he was struggling in a relationship with his wife and with his children. And he thought, I have to get away. I have to figure this out. And he had been, had started seeking out and was going to meditation and was understanding that there was a cause behind this that he needed to get a hold of. So he put himself in a hotel for the weekend and really spent time seeking spirit. What is causing this? And he realized that he had anger because he felt cheated out of his choice of what he wanted to do for his life by having to take over, you know, having his choice to take over the family business and help out. He felt that he got cheated out of his life and his choice to make. And over time, that anger and that feeling of being cheated um, lived in his energy system, and it began to come out in his skin, under his skin, and his skin in the form of tumors. He got that. He was like, oh my gosh, I have to change my perception. I have to let that go. I need to change how I am with my wife and my children. Um, he woke up in the morning and all the tumors were gone. Right? When we take away what's feeding um, the issue's free to go. So it's just a beautiful example of the process that we've been talking about and going through. There are millions and millions of testimonies of people that have what seem like miraculous healings, gotten over sicknesses, diseases, conditions, um, by changing what they believe and changing how they are dealing with life and releasing those blockages. So when what we believe um, will greatly affect our response to when we get sick or we get a diagnosis. So we need to understand what it is that we believe and what we actually believe and know to be true about our body, our effect on our body with our thoughts and our energy. So, one response is if when we get something, a sick, the body is, we could say the body's fighting a battle, it's eradicating the enemy. Cool, I'm going to rest, be happy, grateful, nurture myself. Another response can be, and this comes out of just what are your beliefs? Spiritual people don't get sick. I must have done something wrong. This is a punishment. It must have been given to me as a gift to teach me. So I would just make a note that if you think that disease and sickness is a gift, why would you ever try to get rid of it? Why would you give it back, right? You would be so blessed, right? It's not true. Heaven doesn't punish. Heaven doesn't punish. So people say it's God's will. If it's God's will, again, why fight it? Consider yourself blessed, right? We have to challenge everything that we have learned. If we really need to want to nail down and we want to know, is there the possibility of healing in my physical body? Then we must challenge what stands in the way of it. We must learn the truth, and we must get in there with spirit and learn the truth about ourselves, about our body, and what's true and what isn't true about what we have taken in. I mean, some people feel that being sick, they're sick because it's working for them. It works for them, the life they want to have. When in my working with people, I have run across people who this is their life. They do not want to change it. Okay, that's their choice. That's their belief, right? Um, I've had people say, if I got better, if I got received a healing through my meditation, that would be a slap in the face to my medical relatives. So, you know what, I'll just sit in my sickness then. Like when we speak these things outside and outside of our head, it just doesn't make sense, right? Why would I suffer in my life to not offend you? Ugh. So, we have to really look at how we are looking at ourselves and how we are looking at situations. And I have sat and listened to face testimonies of people that were like, I'm not dying now. I've got a life to live. I've got children. I've got grandchildren I want to see. I want to see my kids get married. I'm not having this. I'm figuring it out. And in a very short time, they're well, right? They're well. Oftentimes we have to come to a revelation of what is happening. What is happening? What's the block? What's floating in what's the spot in our energy field? There's no judgment with any of it. It's we don't know until we know, right? If we had known we needed to let trauma and things flow through us, life experience flow through us and not get stuck there, we wouldn't be dealing with the issue. But we didn't know, and now we know, so we're processing the stuff through, right? The power of the mind to affect the body is incredible, and it works both ways. People say every year I get laryngitis, every year I get strep throat, every year I get this thing right at this time, and boom, every year right at that time it presents itself. What if you started saying, I never get that? I breeze right through without getting that. Like we create our reality oftentimes because when we say something enough, it becomes a belief system and we have faith in it's coming to pass. Then we have faith now that every year we're getting sick with that sickness right at that time. And according to our faith, our life will reveal itself. So, in looking at the power of the mind, I'll talk for a second about the placebo effect. There's a great book out there called You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe. The placebo effect is a person believes that something is going to cure them, and it does. And the doctor who discovered and studied and created through his studies the blind and double blind clinical trials that we use today was a surgeon in World War II, and he was putting these guys back together, and they had ran out of morphine, and so they injected the guy with saline because he thought if I don't do surgery, he could die. If I do surgery without anesthetic, he could go into shock and die. So they're like, here's the morphine. And he did the surgery on the guy, and the guy acted like he was on morphine, right? And so he did it repeatedly. And every time they ran out of morphine, they'd give saline and it would work. And so when the war was over, he spent his career studying this and creating. So if you give someone a sugar pill, they don't know they're getting a sugar pill in a study, right? Some people get the drug, some people get the sugar pill. Oftentimes the sugar pill people were outperforming the drug people in these things. That's so powerful. Even in surgeries, like they didn't even tell the surgeon who was getting surgery until the operating room. So they'd wheel the person in and they'd open an envelope and it would say, this person gets the fake surgery. And then the next person might get the real surgery, some robotic cardiac surgery. And so they would just do a slice on the person and stitch it back up. And the people healed. The condition left their body. They truly believed that they were going to be made whole by this surgery that they never had. And their body conformed and they were made whole. The condition repaired itself because they believed. it was going to happen. That's the power of intention and the power of our mind. They did the same thing with knee surgeries on people. And the body conformed to the belief. But we can't just say, oh, I'm believing this, I have faith in this. Faith and a belief in something, you're believing it. I'm taking this pill, it's curing me. They believed it, right? You can't just dabble around and hope for a result. And you can't just hope it works. It's a when the people are like, I believe it, this is going to cure me, it does. So we have command over the body when we understand it and we work as one with it. So we can heal over time, or we can heal sometimes miraculously, like these stories. When you take the energy out of the thing disappears. We oftentimes heal as our perceptions and concepts about life are healed, and our feelings about ourselves are healed. The body, now the energy comes back into balance, and now the body can do its function and heal itself. So healing in the body has everything to do with harnessing the power and the intention of the mind, thoughts, and emotions. Another example, this is Neville Goddard is an old mystic. He's been gone a really long time, but I love his work. He's very bone to the point, and he was called in to see this young man in the hospital. Yeah, he had a heart condition, and it was failing, and they were like, prepare to die. He's a young man with young kids. His wife brought Neville in, and Neville was like, well, geez, you have a concept that you're going to die or that you're sick. Try this for, a week or whatever. He goes, this is what you do every day. You image yourself well, and you image, what does it feel like to be well? And then you image the doctor coming in and saying, I don't know what happened. It's a miracle, but you're well. And it actually happened that way. And like obviously before he died, less than a month or something. The guy was like, I can do that. And his wife's like, I'll do it with you every day. The system lined up to the picture and the belief, So we have a choice of accepting something to be true about us and surrendering to it, or looking at it, observing it, and saying, okay, why is it here? What do I need to do to move it out or move it along? Because oftentimes people, there's so much fear about dying and getting stuff that people get a diagnosis and they immediately surrender to it. And like Dr. Joe says, they surrender to the voodoo curse, and then they prepare to walk it out, right? And we're not going into denial and saying, oh, I don't have something, but we're observing it and saying, where might this have come from? Where's the root to this? I don't believe this is part of my life or part of my future, part of my my awareness of being. My higher consciousness doesn't have this. This is something that's in my body field. What do I need to do to get it out, right? There's a difference in response. You cannot have the second response without understanding and knowing your body, what it's capable of, the power of your mind and intention, and what you can achieve with that. You can't have all that. You have to have we have to know the miracle of our human existence and our divine spirit that's indwelling this vehicle, and that our divine energy, our divine essence is one with this vehicle. And the power of our mind to create, we put it all together, we can have miracles and experience them in our life. So with intention and passion, and this has been proven scientifically, and I have a reading list if you're even interested, we can change our DNA. All of this stuff out there, this, you're stuck with whatever it is through your DNA. No, you're not. We can change our DNA with intention, with information. They have taken DNA and changed it. People have changed their DNA. That there is no longer a trace of whatever it was in their body, in their system. We have the power to do that. We have to know that we can, and we have to do the work. What if we want to do that, right? If we want to do that, we can change our body through the entire system. So people with, when people begin to discover this and they put in their time with visualization, with meditation, with shifting out of shadow into grace, people with MS, cancer, various diseases, injuries, hearing, seeing disabilities have become whole. How does that happen? How does that happen? We think, oh, healing comes on us from out there somewhere if it's supposed to be, and if it doesn't, then it's not supposed to be. These people learned the power, put it to work on their own body, Then we can use our energy on other people's bodies, helping other people have enough energy. We can't decide for somebody that they're going to be whole because we want them to. I mean, I used to ask people, they'd come in and be like, I want to be better, I want to be whole. And I'd say, well, what can you believe? What do you believe is possible? Because I can't take you anywhere that you don't want to go. We can only get you to what you believe. Then maybe you can modify that and believe for something more, right? But the person has to, this is, our journey here is about learning how miraculous and amazing we are, and using that miraculous, amazing power to live a full life and to help other people live a full life. Other people are going to benefit from our beautiful, rich, emanating life. People will. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to go back and remember who and what we are and begin to live it out here on our journey. Like I said, it can happen over time or it can happen overnight. Looking at symptoms is never going to help you. When you receive a healing, you know it, and sometimes the symptoms will taper off as the body does its work. Or if we're like, I really want to be well, but I still have symptoms, therefore I didn't receive my healing. I still have symptoms, therefore I didn't receive my healing. We're putting all this energy into symptoms. Forget about the symptoms. Treat them so that it doesn't distract you, but focus on what now? What do I need to do now? The symptoms will leave. Sometimes things amp up right before they go out too. Like there's no rule. The most important thing is that we are whole again. That's the most important thing. And that whatever the issue that brought it to you, kept it with you, whatever it is, that is released and resolved also. And then the body, in the regular workings of life is created to, when a virus comes in, it recognizes it as an intruder, it kills it, and you are protected. You are protected now from that variant forever. And then the next one comes along. Like, the body's made to take care of the small stuff. We participate and keep the body balanced so that it can keep us going and take care of stuff. And we listen up. Did I get sick? Am I run down? Am I tired? Do I have the energy to fend off these things? If not, then there it is. So time to modify and moderate our life a little bit. It takes commitment and work and transformation, and it comes down to, like, what can you believe today, not what can you hope for. What have you already surrendered to? Like, what am I believing today? Is what I want opposite or in line with what I'm believing, right? We can't be fighting against ourselves in the process. Have you already given your power away? Do you need to get it back? Have you given your authority to a commercial, to the news, to a doctor? Healing is for everyone, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's for everyone. And Western medicine and doctors are great. They're awesome. These are people, individual people that have gone to school to learn a skill and some tools so that they can look at you and diagnose your body, according to process and symptoms, and help you get better, right? Sometimes with drugs, sometimes with whatever. If you have total faith that whatever it is going to heal you, it probably will, right? So I'm not suggesting anything about that. I'm just saying these are regular people. These are not gods. These are people who have learned tools and trades and skills, and they're applying them to your life to help you get better. So, you are a human also, equal to them. You can learn. So faith or belief, it's a knowing about anything. So, it's a power from within. Radical healings come oftentimes from rewiring and rebalancing our system, right? Understanding that thought patterns create energy, which can be a drain on the system. So we rewire our thoughts. Whatever we have faith in is going to be our reality. Faith or knowing, it's like, I believe that to be true. I don't even have to think about it. It's truth, right? It's a knowing. So there's people that, it's neutral. Faith is neutral. There's people that believe that, my great grandfather died at 55, my grandfather died at 55, my dad died at 55, I'm going to die at 55. And this is their belief, and this is what they say, they've said their whole life. Chances are they're going to die at 55 because we're laying the groundwork and putting faith in an outcome, just like any other goal. That we live with it, we apply ourselves to it, it manifests in our life. So the time to settle your beliefs is now, before you're sick, before something happens. And healing is healing. And if you believe that you will heal, chances are you're going to heal. But it's not without, we oftentimes have to apply ourselves to the process, that it is there for us. Um, it comes from, it's generated from within. Uh, People that receive, and you read in the Bible, or you see healing things, when people receive a healing, not everyone receives a healing that goes for a healing. Not everyone in the Bible received a healing, right? The ones who believed it was possible received a healing, right? So Western medicine, again, is good for many things, especially if you don't know anything or if you have an emergency, or if, you need to get better and you don't know anything else. You have nowhere else to look or to turn, or to keep you going till you can figure it out, right? But let me ask you something in line with just, our, when we believe something, we believe it to be true in our life, and we begin to live with it, and it becomes true in our life. So, scanning your body every year, every 2 years, looking for cancer, just because you can, just because we can sell that product in our culture. Is it laying the groundwork for cancer awareness or for health awareness? Our ancestors didn't do that. They didn't all drop dead from cancer. I mean, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? If you have a fear, go ahead and do it. But I'm not suggesting that you don't. But how are we living that's supporting our system? And how are we living that's supporting the outcome we don't want? If you can do that with complete neutrality, then then that's okay, because you're not putting energy into it. Like, we begin to get energy attaching to the things that we're doing, and we go for a scan and we start to have fear. I start to have fear waiting for the results, right? Ugh. Go with neutrality if you really need to and you're curious. Don't surrender to something that hasn't even happened yet. So when we put the healthcare and the nurturing of our body into the hands of someone else, we're going to have limited outcomes. And we may have outcomes we don't want. It's your body. You're the one who knows it best. You're the one who can hear it, who hears the voice of your body. Like I said, the medical profession is working with teachings and tools they learned in school. We can learn to honor, understand, and value our body. We can learn our body language. We can learn to heal and change our body. But we have to take responsibility for what we're doing with it, what we're doing to it, our thoughts and emotions, our shadows, our past, and our future. There's no side effects with applying yourself to your health and your life. The only side effects are good ones. So we have to become intimately acquainted with every aspect of our living being, and this includes our body. It is not just an old rag that we're hauling here and we're hauling there, and we're going to drag it over to the gym, and we're going to take it for a walk like as if it's a dog or something. It is your vessel. It is your vessel that you have for your lifetime here. We need to honor it. It's carrying us around. Just imagine how it feels when you don't honor it, yet it has to carry you around and do what you say. So asking yourself, what do I believe about my body? Is it, am I living in hope, or am I living in belief? Where did I get this belief? What do I really know and understand about my body system? Where have I seen my beliefs in action? Where have I seen them in action? Anyone I know? Like, what do I know to be true for me? And what would I like to know? Start engaging with your body the same way we engaged with our uh, shadows and our graces, with our thoughts and emotions, with our challenging our the myths and beliefs about our spirituality. Healing is for everyone. We came here, we are divine creatures. We have divine energy. We don't know it, we're not familiar with it, we're not using it. And I'm going to say something. And we are not here living a human life with a tiny fragment of spirituality. We are spirit beings here to live a spiritual life as humans. We have to put our spiritual self as a priority. We must recognize that we're divine spirit beings. We live inside a fabulous, miraculous, self-healing machine of a body. And we have a beautiful, powerful mind and intention. None of this is going to line up with divine light if we spend 10 minutes on evolving our entire life experience and then we live off the rest of it, doing whatever else, plodding along in our humanity. We're here as spiritual beings in a human body. We need to develop the awareness of our spirituality, of our spiritual power, of the spiritual energy, and begin to use that and develop it and express it in our own bodies. And other people will benefit, right? In our own mind, and other people will benefit, right? We are here first and foremost as spirit beings. We have to set aside time, and we have to have a plan for that time. We have to get involved with the process of our growth in our life. What do I want to know about? What do I want to understand? I'm not against church, but 1 hour, 2 hours a week? No, you have got to, and you're only listening to teaching from somebody else. You have got to have that relationship where you sit down across the conference table from spirit and you begin to develop the relationship. You begin to set goals and you begin to live your spiritual life with as much fervor and effort and value that you put into your human existence. We're not just toddling along here as humans having a life. We are spirit beings. If we want to see the power and we want to see the beauty and we want to really make a difference on the earth, we're part of a whole. When we elevate ourselves, it elevates every human because we're all together. We're all tied together. So being ignorant about our spirituality, about our bodies, and about the issues in our thoughts and our mind is no excuse. We know now. We know now. There's no reason to, you can't turn your back on it. So we have to be diligent with our process so that we can grow in power and grow in the expression that we have and see more clearly and love more deeply, right? From a place of compassion, a place of compassion. So that is the lesson for today. If anyone would like to comment, or if you have any questions, or the usual pause at the end.
Well, I am a poster child. I was blessed with a super strong, beautiful body. I've been at war with it my entire life. And I just got hit on the head recently, telling me I had to stand down and take a break and take time to uh, just take time to pay attention to what's going on with myself. And it's been difficult, but it's a real thing. I mean, I've done I've done the starving, I've done the exercise, I've done all this stuff. I was always mad at my body because it wasn't doing what I wanted. I couldn't make it do it. Not happy because it wasn't as cool as I thought it was, which I was so wrong. So my body's been took a beating, but it's still there for me. I've been blessed with a really good one. But all of a sudden it said, you know what? I'm going to make you so uncomfortable. You're going to have to sit there for a week or two and recover. So it's actually been the best thing that's happened to me recently, even though I'm whining and complaining about it the whole time. And it's this has been a great, this was like one of the best lessons ever.
I allowed myself to become so run down that my body broke down.
And Tommy, you gotta just stop because yeah, I'm stubborn and very determined. So you know, and I have a strong constitution. I could keep going a really long time. But after a while, at some point, thank goodness, it just said stop. It wasn't something important, you know, like I didn't have cancer or anything, but it just told me, you know, stop. So I'm listening and trying to do my best.
And you are. You're listening. You're resting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a question about the body as the living third. You mentioned that earlier.
Is it what?
The living third,
Living.
or did I hear that wrong?
Yeah.
So what did you say?
I don't know.
It was right before the plant analogy.
Oh. Hang on. I'm almost back there. Okay. I don't know. But I can jump.
Well, it's part of we have our spirit.
Yes.
Work. Okay. And then we have our physical work and then our learning. Is it part of that part?
Yeah. It's a living system.
Yeah.
Our body is a living system. It's not just the car we're driving. It's a miraculous, well put together system of parts. And it is a living system. I'd have to watch the video because I don't, that's not written here. So I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Just know that your body's the living, it's the third in the three systems that we covered.
What was the three systems? The spiritual, the learning, and
our mind, emotions, and thoughts, right? And now our body. And healing, we need healing in all of those.
Copy that.
To bring us back into balance and awareness and power.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dysfunctions in the body aren't like with with myself or with Yelena. We don't have to get to that point. That's what I mean in talking about learning to respect and honor our body so that we hear the voice of the body and we recognize an imbalance in the body and we stop and address it early on, like right away. We don't have to get to the point where we get a sit down.
I do.
No, you don't. But we through the process, we get exposure on how we live, how we are being, ever ready bunnies. Go, go, go. I'll just do this one more thing. I'll just do this one more thing. I'll just do this one more thing. And the body's been like, oh my gosh, I've been like in a deficit for quite some time now. I cannot, the system's breaking down, and then something breaks. And we become acutely aware that something isn't as it should be or as it was. It's actually stopping us from going on to the next thing. So it's really a window oftentimes into how we're being. And then we can make a shift. And we're still, because oftentimes we live like that because we feel it's attached to our value, our worth, and stuff like that. So
Audrey, I have a question. Can you talk about, how you said like you can't just spend like 10 minutes and then go on like plodding along? Can you just talk a little bit about like the ongoing conversation we should be having with the divine so we continuously are healing or filling up our cup, mind, body, soul, as opposed to just, okay, I'm going to meditate and now I'm going to go back to my life?
yeah, because we've just been taught to fit spirituality in on Sunday or in meditation or mindfulness or something like that. So on a ongoing, we know what it is like to be in balance or to be in alignment. And then we know what it feels like to be in say, a shadow, for example. So it's recognizing, what am I feeling inside? Why am I feeling this? What's it connected to? I don't want to feel like this. Or if you're sitting down in your time, whatever time of day it is, and you're saying, I really like to settle once and for all in my belief about healing. And so that's going to be my goal. I need to resolve that so I can have peace in my heart about life process, about my body and stuff. And then how might I go about that? Bring me a teacher or a book, something like that. And Spirit will provide that for you. And then as you are learning, you're discussing what you're learning. I need help with this. This isn't making sense to me, or this is making sense, or this is great, but I'm still not confident. Help me. And so it's if you imagined it was because Spirit's in us, around us, everything. So we're present all the time. So we begin to engage. We look at our life and say, where do I want to be as a spirit being as my life is progressing in other areas? And then, or if you don't know, you can say, how can I grow? What's a good goal for me? And listen, and it will float to the surface. So we're engaging with it instead of living our life and applying spirituality to it. We're engaging with the process. And like maybe some of you are inspired to learn more about your body from this teaching. How might I learn more about my body and its miraculous workings so that fills up my mind? instead of all these commercials about how it's going to start breaking at 40, right?
So it's
So
an ongoing in and out of meditation.
all
It's
the
an
time.
ongoing conversation with spirit.
Yeah, all the time. I'm talking all the time. When I do set aside time, like my set aside time or my because I don't always sit in there and meditate. I write, I journal my conversation, and sometimes I sit quietly and I'll do a meditation style, but my whole thing is a meditation. But the set aside time to bask or to be in the presence without a conversation, and then I do that time for that. And when I get up from there, I'm talking inside to spirit. Because we're guided every moment. The guidance is there. Excuse me, moment to moment in our life. And when we start being present, then we start to notice how much. And we're not coming and going from the relationship. We are divinity. We're in divinity, surrounded by divinity. Everything's divine. So we're never leaving the presence and coming back to it. We're just becoming aware or choosing to not be aware.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that we can ask. You're the first person to say, like, you can ask. You always can ask.
Oh, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes I'll ask, and then I'll go about, like I was making jam this week, and I'm making my jam, and the answer comes through. Because sometimes we're looking so hard for the answer that a brain gets in the way. But then as I'm going about, I'm walking or I'm doing my thing, it floats through. So that, we're always, we are supposed to be talking. We're supposed to be asking and receiving.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, my lovelies. I am going to skip meditation because it is after 7. But next week we'll meditate for sure. And I love you. I'm here for you. If you have any questions come up or thoughts, reach out. Have a great week. And next week we'll have a little review, and then we'll talk about the next series, which is going to be really fun. So love you.
Have you?
I'm willing to stay later if you're willing to stay later.
It'll be it'd be really short. I know we'd be going in and coming out. I got dinner.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye.